Good afternoon. I know some folks are peeling in. Um, Morgan, if you could do me a favor, because I'm gonna get the party started. Could you let folks in as they trickle in?
Yep, will do.
Thank you. Cool. Good afternoon. Welcome to the August GAE call. And I'm TJ Boyer, and as you know, we're going through this monthly GAE calls now instead of the quarterly. Uh, we want to focus and incorporate more of the next gen application and some demos and information share with everybody. But without further ado, I'm not sure if someone dialed in, but if you dialed in, could you put your name in the chat so we could capture that in the attendance list? That would be much appreciated. But as we get things started, we'd like to start out to open the floor to everyone. If are there any, recent emergent issues that folks want to share with the group? Just open the floor with everyone. So if you got any emergent issues, please share. Okay. Uh, if not, we could. Well, we're not shutting the door on it. So, yeah, anytime during meeting, especially during the round robin, if you got any things you want to bring up, please let us know. I'm going to kill this camera because I'm getting notifications that my having some bad connection. But anyhow, hopefully you all can hear me. But just some reminders, general awareness for the group. Just want to share that again, for any of our past monthly notes, especially from this call and the recordings, you could go to the GAE editor resource page of the RD&A site. They're updated and they're posted. So feel free if you want to go back and look at some information. Also, we have the FAMOF migration frequent asked questions document for just various information on logging, e-authenticating and getting to the WIFIS application. That document, as well as a PowerPoint, is also hosted there, as well as on the WIFIS homepage too. So if you got any questions, you can check that out. And by all means, reach out to us. Also, again, the user acceptance testing environment for next gen is up and running. So again, it's open to everyone to check out, play around, get familiar with the application. Little disclaimer, I know they're still doing some tweaks here and there with the application. So some things may change that you've seen previously, but by all means, please check that out. And also here, I have the link posted here for the help site. Here they have some guidance on getting in the UAT environment and any questions that you may have there. So you can check that link out there. I think on the last call, Sam mentioned that this help site soon will be moved to a different location. So when that comes to fruition, we will share the information with you all. Okay, and then finally, I know folks been doing great, sending us some training dates. Yeah, please continue that. Any upcoming training dates, please let us know, and we can add it to the calendar. And again, this helps us make sure when we doing like system upgrades or some releases, and we have to shut the application down, we're not hindering any trainings that you guys got going on. So we just want to make sure that you're aware of that. Okay, so we have some new additions to the GAE group. James Dixon for the BLM group over Northwest, and Dan O'Connor for the Forest Service side for the Northwest. We want to welcome those two. We also got two other new additions that I got today. Ryan Aby for the Fish and Wildlife Service for North Ops, and Jenna Harsha for Great Basin with Fish and Wildlife. So welcome to those folks. And yeah, any changes for GAEs, let us know so we could get those folks situated within the application as well as to the GAE mailing list, and also for the IA help desk contact list. So when users put in those help tickets and needing their application, their profile activated or their role set, the IA can point them to the right GAE to help those folks get the right roles. All right, well, we got a little movement with the with staffing here with RD&A. This month, Larry Wiegand wrapped up his detail with us. He was acting as our program manager, and filling behind him is Greg Dillon. He joins us for 120-day detail. And Greg Dillon, he comes to us from the Fire Model Institute. He was the director there. So welcome to Greg. And we also have Dan Mindar coming back this week. Folks who probably dialed that on-call number probably got a hold of him. But we want to welcome back Dan Mindar for supporting us for on-call with this week. Okay. So little updates for Classic. Not much, but we're continuing providing that subsistence support during this fire season. I know pick activities been busy with PL5, and we're still here hanging on with you all on providing support. No issues with the application. We have increased system checks for the analysis and LCPs being hung up in the system. And so, our team, as well as our wonderful, super wonderful devs, they've been jumping on top of those and getting them reset it back to the assigned state. So kudos to the team there, and make sure things are working smoothly during fire season. And then we actually got a update today with the NWS. So as you know, they're migrating their forecast data services to a new API. So the latest is they're suspending working on that new forecast API to handle some other issues. So they don't expect picking it up until after this fire season. So good news for us, and they will continue communications with us, make sure we're not blindsided by the release. So so that's the latest of today, actually. Also with Classic, we recently deployed 8313, and with that release was just fixing the other unit shapes. Their lines, they weren't included in the values at risk, so we got that addressed, and we have the release notes posted. So yeah, again, want to look at this release notes or any past release notes, you can head on to the homepage of the WIFTIS home site. We have that what's new in WIFTIS on the left-hand side of the homepage, and the hot pick section on the right. See, yep, again, we continue working with NWS so we get ready for that transition to that new forecast weather feed. And we're also working alongside with NextGen, working on archiving and working on that transition plan with that. So outside of supporting you all, this fire season. That's being our primary work there. Um, Recently, we did some testing. So there was like a critical vulnerability in the geo tools. Our devs removed a part of that a jar out of the geo tool to see if it would have any effect with the application performance. Then doesn't seem, now that there's no effect. So we're just waiting on a pre and post scan from Nest to confirm any vulnerabilities. So um, so far so good. So we'll see what comes out of that from that scan. See if we need to do any more adjusting there. And a little nugget here. Yeah, 6 out of 10 busiest days and with this occurred this fire season. So um, yeah, breaking records. So yeah, things has been pretty busy within the application. And so far, knock on wood, nothing has torn up. So good news. And then finally for classic, I know I mentioned this last call, but still, we're still having those notification issues uh, with Verizon cell phones. So, and it has gotten worse. I've gotten notifications for like feedbacks a week later. So it's gone from 4 to 12 hours to a couple days to a week later from my standpoint. So I'm relying on emails, but yeah, no new news there or no relief there. Okay, any questions for any classic updates or anything that I mentioned? Okay, if not, get over to the data side. Um, just want to remind folks that we have one more FMU update, version 85, and that's due to agency leads by early September. We did make an adjustment to the schedule that was posted on the data page over on the with the site. So it does reflect this new this adjustment to the schedule. So again, set early September 5th is the due date for this last final hurrah for getting those into classic. And then now it's just going into spatial fire planning for next gen. Say, I think Susan, did you have anything you want to add with data?
No, not at this time. Just reach out to me though if anybody has any specific questions on the spatial fire planning in the final ETL of the data. Thanks.
Sweet, thank you. Okay, Erwin, we had a meeting today. We had a little mini AR. So earlier this month, there was a latency issue that happened, caused some duplications with some records. Erwin had to end up just doing a restart to her system, and with this, we have these checks. Our devs incorporate the application, catch some kind of these weirdness that goes on with this, and yeah, we saw it first and notify Irwin, and yeah, it was some issues going on. So it was addressed, and just kudos to the with this team, kudos to the devs for having that system checks in place to catch on to these things, because it affects a lot of other applications, like iRock and the rest of those applications that we use. So that's the latest. We met today on that. And then the just reminder that draft for version 10 Irwin release is ready. It's up. Folks can view it. The ERWA anticipate version 10 release to production on March 5th of next year. So yeah, if you're curious on the latest and greatest, what's the change with that version, here's the link below, and you can also check out the current version 9 information there. Okay, before we get with next gen, does anyone have any questions or anything from information that's been shared? Okay. Guess I'll transfer the floor to next gen. I think they have it's a good demo day today. So, Wes, floor is yours, sir.
Sarah is actually going to give our demo today, so I'm going to pass it straight to Sarah.
Sweet.
That's right. Do you want to give any updates, you or Sam, on our progress while I steal the screen?
I'll just tell folks we're moving along with the application, putting some final touches on the strategic course of action portion and working into rationale and incident or final estimated incident cost. And then the next piece of the puzzle is actually the decision process itself, the decision approval process, I should say. And then that kind of wraps up the main feature areas of the application. There's still a few things we need to go back and finish up, tidy up. One of those being FS Pro and getting our landscape editor completely functional and adding some more bells and whistles to the FS Pro piece of analysis. And then from there, it'll be primarily user notifications, CMS work, that kind of thing, incident history to kind of round off our MVP for the application. So we're still looking good for launch next spring.
Thanks. Sam, did you come off mute? Or you're just showing up on my
No.
screen? Okay. For some reason you came up on my screen. Okay. So we're going to do a shortish demo today, and I just wanted to lead off with some thoughts. So we did sideload all the GAEs back in September, and FAMOff is enforcing their 330-day non-activity rule. And so some of you may have gotten an email that said your account access was removed, and you will have to request that again. And so that's something to keep in mind, is that it's real, and the users that we spoke to did not get an email saying, hey, your account access is going to expire in 10 days. It just was gone. So, but anytime you log into the application, into the instance of the application, so into UAT, or once we get training online, each one of those, it'll reset that 330-day countdown. So maybe just something good to do beginning of the season, at the end of the season if you're not in there, but we'll all be in there. So, and then just as TJ mentioned, as far as user support, one of the surefire ways to get there is going to be to click on this link, and that will be available in all instances of the application, which will bring you to our homepage. And just to highlight this for folks, we are looking for feedback, and we do have a form where you can submit requests, questions, any of that, and we are looking at it, but we haven't seen a lot. So back to the demo. Today we're going to talk about how to use the search function to find incidents, and how to start decisions. So WFDS NextGen is map focused, and our results list here on the incident tab are tied to this map. So as we zoom in and zoom out, the values on this list are going to change. And so we can search by an area and see all the fires maybe not Kansas. All the fires that are in Irwin reported with a discovery date within the last 6 months and not called out are going to show up in our reference. So you see that it's gone down to 33, 18 fires. We can also go back to the full extent and search by a name. So if I don't know the full name, but I know that it has the word creek in it, I can whittle that down to 186 fires. And if you want to, you can search by or sort by the GAC to help refine that value. So we are pulling from an Irwin feed that has actual real incidents on it now. So if there's something somebody wants to look at, we can pull it up. Otherwise, I'm just gonna make something up. Shout it out. Anybody? Fire? We do encourage folks to go in and check out their fires and work side by side just to see how the new interface works. All right, I'm gonna do something with a creek in it. I'm gonna do something that's, oh, this looks delightful. Okay, so we're gonna pull up American Creek. We can use the right hand up panel and expand it and find out more information on this. We can zoom to it. And figure out, okay, this isn't the fire that I'm interested in, and we can go ahead and close it with no action. We can also, if we're interested in this fire, but we don't want to be involved in the decision making, we can turn on this eye icon, which is the watch list icon, which then puts this incident into my watch list here on the My Home tab, American Creek. So this is an incident where I am not a collaborator, but I'm just watching. I'm going to go back to the incident tab and wait for the map to load. And go back to the full extent. And now I still am searching on Creek, and I still can look at all the Creek fires. And let's say that I would like to do, so these are, they default to the discovery date and time with the newest at the top, but you can sort on either the expanded right-hand panel or the shrunken right-hand panel. Let's try Amble Creek. Oh, it's very small. That's okay. So I want to start the decision on this fire. This is fire that I am a collaborator on. And this is just like in classic accepting ownership. It's just starting the decision and starting to allow people to use it. So I'm going to click yes, start decision. You can see the information here on the incident info tab. And it's pulling all these values from Irwin. You can get information on the fire area. I think we're going to show those in a demo next time. And we can look at collaborators. So since I started this, I became the POC as well as a collaborator. So every fire must have a POC, and it doesn't have to always be me. So once an incident editor starts, an incident editor and any rule above that can initiate a decision or start a decision. But incident editors cannot add themselves as collaborators if they weren't the ones to start the decision. And so that's where GAEs may come into play in terms of adding collaborators. So I'm going to add Carrie to this fire, and I am actually going to change. I should be able to change the Carrie to the POC, which takes the POC away from me and save that information. So now we see Carrie is the POC, and he can add any collaborator. Fire behavior analysts, GAEs, and support roles are all implicit collaborators. And so once a decision has been started, You don't have to be added as a collaborator to be able to edit incident information or upload or draw shapes. So we do this search list is not working as currently, but it's on our list. And you can continue to add as many collaborators as you want. Now that we have Carrie as POC, I can actually go in and remove any of the rest of the collaborators as long as there's still one. That was quick and dirty. What kind of questions do we have about that? Go ahead, Jonathan.
When you add a collaborator, do they get a notification, an email or anything like that to say that they've been added to that incident?
No, right now that's kind of further out on the horizon in terms of being able to set up any notifications. And so that's another thing. I don't know if Jane's set up. Is that you can also add the approvers here. I have, let's see if it'll let me do that. Oh, so I have 2 accounts, and so I'm trying to add the one that's an approver or listed as an approver, but we do not have any email notification functionality at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? We can talk about once you initiate or start a decision, the system automatically creates an initial planning area based on the initial point of origin that it's pulling from Irwin. And so this will allow folks without redrawing the planning area to be able to generate a spatial inventory. Let's see, if you wanted to see information about folks, if you came in you were added as a collaborator and you wanted to know more about Carrie, you can look at his information within the system. So this is his WFDS Next Gen profile. And get his phone number if it was in here, and it would be, it's a mandatory field, and to be able to give him a call or send him an email. And that does pop up in another screen, so not to take you away from where you're at. Anything else? We're creating some micro videos to go along with the help content on the user support page. And we will post all that once we get it uploaded into the YouTube. And I'm also creating an FAQ doc that's kind of hitting on all the questions that we've been getting along the line. So it's another place that's really valuable if you have questions to go ahead and fill out one of those feedbacks, and we'll look at it and I'll be able to incorporate it. I see Wes and I see Rick. Rick, number 1.
I don't get that. Wes is number 1. So one thing I would want to maybe emphasize for folks as a difference between the current version of WFDS and next gen WFDS. When we looked at that map of incidents that Sarah had up to pick an incident from, she mentioned that this was all of the incidents that had a discovery date in the last 6 months in Irwin. Big difference. Right now, Classic pulls every wildfire incident from Irwin and saves a copy of it. If you wanted to look up a fire from 8 years ago on the Cleveland National Forest, you can. For next gen, if no one takes any action in WFDS on an incident, and it gets to 6 months after the discovery date, that incident disappears. There will be no trace of it in WFDS whatsoever. So you will not be able to look up, say, incidents from last year unless somebody actually touched them within WFDS. Obviously, anything that is touched within WFDS that gets collaborators, that gets anything done on it, gets saved forever. But the things that nobody touches are not going to hang around in the system. Okay, that's all I had for that point. Go ahead, Wes.
I actually think Carrie had a question maybe related to what you were talking about, Rick, so I'm going to defer and I'll come back.
Thanks, Wes. Yeah, I do, Rick. So when you say touched, I mean, so if the fire is declared out, does that happen in Wildcat and therefore does not get touched in WFDS, or does that happen in WFDS and is obviously, based on what you were saying, it would still not be preserved?
Correct. So if nobody ever logged into WFDS, looked at that incident and says, I want to start a decision on this, I'm going to be the point of contact, kind of that first step that Sarah showed, then it will disappear. You won't be able to access it in any way really from WFDS after that 6 months from the discovery date. So the fire being declared out is something that would happen in another system. It could be WildCAD, it could be Alaska CAD, it could be Inform, it could be any of the other systems that use Irwin, but you would not be able to do that from WFDS. And that would not be considered, as I put it, touched in WFDS, and that incident would not leave a trace here.
So how about a fire behavior analysis?
Yes, a fire behavior analysis done on an incident would, we would keep that forever. We're not going to get rid of anything that people created in WFDS.
Okay, thanks, Rick. I think that's great. Let's clean it up.
Once an incident is in your My Active incident, so you're a collaborator, if you started it, these persist even once that fire is declared out and showing out in WFDS, from my understanding. Well, in my experience at this point.
Correct. Yep, you're right.
Did you have something, Wes?
Yeah, so the tidbit I wanted to add was back on the collaborators piece, and I just wanted to make sure everybody understood now that if your role in the WFDS application is fire behavior specialist, GAE, or in the case of RD&A folks, support, that you will have implicit edit rights to any incident. So you're able to go into any incident and click basically start decision and get the incident moving without having to be added to the decision to be able to work in it. If you are an editor role in the application, you have to be granted access to the incident. In the collaborators page.
Yeah, I was gonna try and demo that. So a fire. What was the fire that you were working on, Sam? The 408, was it? Ooh, have to go back up.
208.
208. So I am not I missed it. There it is. So I'm not a collaborator on this, but since this role is a GAE role that I'm logged into the system with, I can add more collaborators here. That's a good example of what you just said, Wes. So not only am I implicit collaborator, but I can add other collaborators and remove them.
Hey, one quick thing, Sarah. I wanted to go back to the keeping stuff for Carrie's question about fire behavior analysis. So we are going to sweep every 2 years. We'll probably run a cleanup utility. And if you have analyses that are just in a review status or assigned or failed, and they're not kept for reference or completed or kept as a calibration run, those are going to be deleted. So we are going to keep stuff, but we're not going to keep working files in perpetuity. Just a couple years.
There's a question in the chat from Dylan Rader. Asked if there's going to be an option to use pod boundaries as an initial planning area instead of the default square.
And I started answering that in the chat, but I can help answer it here too. So there's not going to be an option to directly just basically select, at least not initially. Let me back up. In the future we may, but initially when we go into production, like you won't be able to pull the pod layer up, select a shape, and then immediately turn that into a planning area. But what you can do is pull that shape layer up in the layer list, copy the shape because there's a copy function in the pop-up, and then you can turn that shape into a planning area.
Oh, I was sure that this fire had pods, or this unit had pods, just kind of trying to show you where that would be to be able to pull that in. You can also, once you're a collaborator or an implicit collaborator, you can draw new shapes, including the planning area, and you can upload, including the planning area.
Correct. Yep. Which is new because you can't upload planning areas in WFDS Classic.
Go ahead, Rick.
Okay, so if there's time to jump in here, I will just kind of point out one other big difference because it's come up a couple times over the past 2 weeks. Users will not be able to create an incident in production next gen. So you won't be able to start a fire. And there were several reasons behind that. Biggest one is that there is very, very seldom a valid need for our users to do that, but it happens much more often than there is an actual need to, and causes a lot of problems for both WFDS and other systems. It's something that we'll have the ability for support staff to do in the very rare event that there is a need for that. But in general, in production WFDS, you will not be able to create an incident.
That is all I had for this. I didn't want to take up too much of folks' time. But please do share questions. You can send them directly to me if you'd like. And hopefully by next month, we'll be able to point you towards some of those videos and get your thoughts on those. And I'm always looking for suggestions on what we can catch up on next. The help or sorry, my bar is right in the way. The user support is getting updated constantly. And so if you see something in there that says data coming soon, it will be eventually. So stand by. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks, y'all. If there's no further questions for next gen, before we get to the round robin, gotta go back. I want to welcome two more new GAEs, Lita Douglas and Benjamin Hornsby. Both of them are Fish and Wildlife Service, and they'll be over Southern area for that. So forgot those two, and just want to make that announcement there. Okay, so getting to the round robin. Again, if you got any information to share, or the fire activity and any upcoming trainings or some coordination opportunities, please share that information. And we can start with Alaska. Okay, if no one from Alaska, let's go with Eastern area.
Hey, TJ, this is Joe Alia with the Forest Service in the Eastern area. Things are pretty quiet in the Eastern area right now. Majority of our assets are sitting in the West Coast helping out everybody out there. Looking at some drying trends, unusual, West Virginia, and then over in Ohio right now. So keeping an eye on that. Things KVDI is higher than normal for this time of year, but still have leaf on, so no major worry there. No feedback. Overall, pretty quiet. End of report.
Cool. Thanks, Joe. And I know the tropics are active on the east side, so we'll see what moisture is going to bring. we're in the middle of it, so let's go with Great Basin.
Hey, this is Jeremy Cisneros. Great Basin has the MAC stood up now for close to 30 days. And as part of the Great Basin MAC, they also put together a decision support kind of arm of that we're trying out this year. So we've been kind of intercepting a bunch of those fire behavior requests and sending those through the RIST, and seems to be a pretty functional model. So it's been pretty busy and kind of going through a little bit of a quiet time right now, but we are looking for some opportunities for folks to help out with that, either in a decision support kind of coordinator lead type of position, which is what I'm doing, or other like RIST lead, or intel, kind of an intel position to work at the MAC, the Great Basin MAC, in person or virtually. So if anybody has interest in that, hit me up. We'd be happy to involve you guys and kind of build some of our capacity there. That's it from me.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Jeremy.
and this is Dylan Rader for Nevada BLM, and relatively slow fire season for Nevada. Our ERCs are trending pretty high across the northern portions where we got cheatgrass and fine fuel loading, but eastern portion of the state's still relatively low. And like I said, below fire activity, we're only tracking 5 fires in WIFTIS right now. So nothing else from Nevada BLM.
Okay, thanks. Anyone else for Great Basin? Okay. Let's go to North Ops. Okay. South Ops. All right. Northern Rockies.
Hello, this is Jonathan Olson for the Forest Service for Northern Rockies. Similar to the Great Basin, we're doing our decision support through the RIST structure organization, and that's been working really well so far. As far as current conditions, things have mellowed out quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. We've been getting some regular rain, so most forests have dropped from very high to extreme down to high or moderate. So we'll see what the future holds there, but pretty quiet. No current gen WFDS training planned for the foreseeable future. at this time, and that's in the report for the Forest Service from Northern Rockies.
Nothing from Fish and Wildlife Service in Northern Rockies.
Cool. Okay. Let's move on to Northwest.
Hey, this is Kip Vandewater with Forest Service for the Northwest GAC. So yeah, we were pretty busy there for a while. Busy that we got some of those like buy 10 wolf discs, get 1 duplicate wolf disc free incidents on our punch card. But things are starting to trend down ever so slightly. Fire danger is decreasing in a lot of parts of the GAC, and we're seeing a downtick in large fire growth and new starts that are escaping initial attack. So hopefully be trending down to kind of normal August levels now. We've had kind of a quasi decision support group / analyst coordination group stood up for a while now, but starting to ramp that down a bit too. And yeah, no issues, and looking forward to seeing what the fall brings for Western Oregon.
Hey, this is Barry from Oregon Washington BLM. Just want to tag on to what Kip said and thank any of the folks that came in remotely from other areas, which includes some of the GAEs on this call and even some RD&A folks came in and support analyst needs. Yeah, things are stabilized a bit here, and most of those remote folks have gone home. I know that there will still be incident management teams, on a lot of these fires, especially on the at higher elevation throughout the fall. So if there are needs out there for F-bands and LTANs, there will still be teams rotating through that are looking for work. So, make sure to reach out, touch base with the folks here that might be able to get you an assignment. Thanks.
Okay. Let's go down to Rocky Mountain.
Good afternoon. This is Gwennon. We coordinated amongst all the agencies to just give one report out today for the entire Rocky Mountain area. We had been busy for about a week and a half, multiple decisions, PL3, which was the highest we've been so far this year, but we got some good moisture across most of the geographic area and are back down to PL2 with fewer incidents needing published decisions. We are seeing some drying conditions happening in the next couple days, but then some moisture coming behind that. So we think our activity will kind of stabilize where we've been. Towards the end of the month, though, we will be in a warming, drying trend again, but shouldn't be as bad as it was 2 weeks ago. So that's it for the Rocky Mountain area.
Sweet. Okay. Southwest.
Hey, Richie Sinkovitz from the Forest Service. Pretty minimal activity. We went to PL2 this week. Haven't had a new analysis run for about a week or so. No published decisions. A little bit longer than that. And a report from the Forest Service.
This is Val with BIA Southwest. Very minimal activity within the BIA units. Nothing planned for training or anything out of it. So, end of report.
I'm gonna go to the restroom and lay down.
I'm sorry, man.
Okay.
Did you get to see your sister?
Okay. Anyone else for Southwest?
Yeah, this is Rance Marquez, BLM Arizona. Similar to what Richie just said, Southeast is very dry. We've actually exported a few resources to the Northwest. As you move to the northwest of the state, though, we're still kind of moderate conditions, popping some IA, and but no major WFDS activity for the last 5 days here. One fire, the Element, was the last one that we were working on outside of Kingman, and that's about it. We're drying trend kind of up and down, dry wet periods, and we're hoping to be shipping resources north by the end of the month. So it's been a long fire season. Long drawn out fire season to the Southwest. We're in extra innings here, so but it is moderating. So that's all I have for BLM Arizona.
Okay. Let's go to southern area.
Hey, TJ, Dave Quisenberry for the Forest Service. Pretty slow here, but we are seeing some drying conditions in Texas and Oklahoma. So working on a fuels advisory for portions of Texas, and we went to PL2 today, or we're going to. Annual report.
Okay. All right. We'll close out. Any final information we have missed? All right. If not, our next call, September 19th, be 1300 Mountain. Thank you all for joining in. I know it's busy with PL5. Just appreciate you all sharing information and having the time to join on. But again, I have these notes posted onto the RD&A site and the call as well, the recording. So thank you again, and I'll catch you guys on the next call.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.